Hello, Holistic Healing Warriors. This is Dr. Leslie Allen, and today I can't wait to talk to you all about, is your lipstick making you sick? And so, of course, in honor of this topic, I show up in my bright red lipstick, which is not characteristic of me, and my t-shirt, Who Knew Lipstick Could Be Revolutionary, which I'll get to in just a moment. But first, I want to ask you, do you know what's in your lipstick? This is something that I had no idea of before I was diagnosed with autoimmunity, and so it really plays into my story, and part of the reason that I developed autoimmunity was largely due to the products that I was putting on my body. So not that I wear a ton of lipstick, but I just wanted to use lipstick as an example because that is something that most of us put on our body each and every day unknowingly, or not knowing that it could be creating damage and fueling our autoimmune conditions. So what's in the lipstick? Lead is in most lipsticks or pigmented makeup. It's a natural occurring heavy metal. And so when you're producing the pigment that goes into makeup, it is common for there to be high levels of heavy metals within that product. So lead, parabens, which is a toxin we'll talk about in just a second, natural flavorings, which who knows what that means. So natural flavorings, anything natural, or even the word fragrance can have up to 800 chemicals tucked behind that ingredient in the US due to the lack of regulation. So a few other chemicals, most people, before they even leave the house, they have covered their body in anywhere from 12 to 18 products before even leaving the house. That's thousands of chemicals that you're being exposed to that could be influencing your health. So, parabens. Parabens is a common toxin that's found in many of our personal care products, shampoos, conditioners, body wash, lotion, lipsticks. The list goes on. There are phthalates, which is a plasticizer. It's found in many plastics. So this is where, you don't want to be eating food that's heated on a plastic plate, or even putting hot food onto a plastic plate or into a plastic container for storage to store your leftovers, because those phthalates will then leach into the food and then you're ingesting them. Now, in terms of heavy metals, this can be lead, as I mentioned, which is found in any of our pigmented makeup products, in most of them, unless you're choosing a safer brand or a safer company that is actually screening for that heavy metal level. Another heavy metal that we don't often think about is mercury. A lot of people think that they're doing better by eating a diet that's rich in fish, omega-3s, it's all the rave. But yet, if you're not choosing fish that is actually lower in your mercury levels, then you can be causing more damage than good. Another heavy metal is, we have cadmium, which is found in the Earth's crust. We become exposed to it through cigarette smoke or any type of smoke or exhaust a lot of times. These are all things so that, we can't necessarily live in a bubble, but we can definitely make better choices. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. But first, let's dive into what are these toxins actually doing to our health. So first of all, the toxins and heavy metals, when they're in the body, when we come into contact with them, the body's job is to detoxify them. But they can actually slow the detoxification pathway and burden the liver And then you get what's called oxidative stress that's floating around. Oxidative stress causes free radicals. Free radicals then cause cellular damage. And especially if you don't have high levels of antioxidants in order to neutralize those free radicals. The other thing that they're going to do is that they're going to hinder our methylation process. So what is methylation? Methylation is a process in which SAM, a methyl donor, is produced, as well as glutathione, which is one of our super antioxidants. It's like our warrior antioxidant, the predominant antioxidant in the liver that helps to neutralize those free radicals. So what do these methyl groups do? That the methyl group SAM, it's going to come in and it protects our DNA and our RNA, our genes, essentially by keeping them tightly coiled and protected. So that way when we do have oxidative stress and other things floating around, it can't cause damage at the cellular level or with our genetic expression. So when our methylation process is then slowed and backed up, we're not getting adequate methyl group donors. So then part of our DNA becomes exposed. And at that point, then, you know, certain SNPs or areas along the genetic makeup that are responsible for expression of enzymes or proteins, they can be turned on or turned off or slowed down or sped up, so then our genes are being mutated or influenced by the other level of toxins, oxidative stress, heavy metals that are found within our body. So clearly none of this is good, and we want to make sure that we're not just focused. We have to focus on what we put in our body as well as what we put on our body, right? So one other toxin that I didn't talk about is glyphosate. This is weed killer or Roundup. It's largely found in much of our food supply, but unfortunately it then runs into the ground and gets into our water supply as well, and it can cause a lot of damage at the cellular level too. So we want to make sure that we're eating organic foods, but at the same rate, we want to make sure that what we're putting on our body is not containing fragrance, parabens, no phthalates. You have to somewhat become a chemist in order to start reading the labels of the products that you are using and the makeup. So as I mentioned, the products that I was using, they were greatly influencing my oxidative stress. And unfortunately, my genetics for my oxidative stress markers are not super efficient at helping to contribute to the production of glutathione and other things that would aid the neutralization of all those free radicals. So I ended up with high levels of oxidative stress, but also endocrine disruption. And again, I had been eating organic and exercising and doing all the right things, but I truly had no idea of the lack of regulation in the US when it comes to the chemicals that companies can use within the products. So the US only bans 30 chemicals, whereas the European Union, they ban 1,400. So we are so far behind, and you're not protected. If you're buying it off the shelf from anywhere, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that it's safe at all. So this is why it's so important to really choose safer products. A great application that you can get on your phone is called Healthy Living app. It's by the EWG, the Environmental Working Group, and you can actually scan barcodes on products to see what the safety rating is for that particular product. And I would highly recommend everyone to use that. Now, I do want to talk a minute about Beautycounter, and hence my shirt. I joined or linked arms with Beautycounter, and a little bit about them, and this isn't a sales pitch whatsoever, but I do want to make everyone in this group aware of the work that we are doing, because it's such important work, and I'm actually doing it for each and every one of you. I almost just teared up. But what we do at Beautycounter is not just sell lipstick. When you support Beautycounter, you're actually supporting a company that is fighting at the legislative level in order to get more health protective laws in our personal care and cosmetic industry. So that is the reason that I linked arms with them, is to make changes for everyone. Like, our kids shouldn't have to worry about the products that they're using from Claire's having asbestos in it. But then when the FDA finds this out, the FDA has no right to have them pull it. It's all upon them, and they say, no, we're not gonna pull that product, we don't have to. That's crazy to think that such a known toxin, a known carcinogen, our kids can be exposed to all the time. So that is why I am talking about Beautycounter right now, is because everyone needs to know about the work that we have been doing over the last 6 years. Has been unbelievable. We actually, when I started at this company, there were only 13 chemicals banned in the US. Now we're at 30, which is not a huge improvement, but it's definitely an improvement in the right direction. So anyhow, we're working to pass currently what's called the personal care and the personal care and cosmetic, I'm getting that wrong. It's the Personal Care and Product Safety Act. And this is a bipartisan bill that was originated in California. California is making great gains. They just passed the Safer Salon Act, which, salon owners and, hairstylists, even people that are doing manicures and pedicures have such an increased rate of infertility, and it's because the exposure to the chemicals that they're being exposed to all day long at their work. So anyhow, if anyone has any questions about any of this, and again, this video is for awareness of the next time that you're washing your hair, take a moment, pause, look at the ingredient list, and see what chemicals you actually just put on your head that's then going to be absorbed into the body. I encourage each of you to download the Healthy Living app, utilize the ewg.com and maybe ewg.org website that you can just go to straight on your computer, and start to empower yourself with the knowledge that it takes in order to live a healthier, cleaner life. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments, or feel free, if you don't want to, leave the comment out in public, you can drop me a private message. That's fine as well. All right, happy Thursday.